Okay, we are going to start with the dance, but we're letting people, you have no choice. You got to sit down somewhere. And something else that we're going to do after we do the dances is, after we do the second dance, which is going to be that Qabid Basit.
That'll be the second dance?
Yeah. And then we'll come back and we'll do a sitting practice. You can sit whatever way you like, as you have normally been doing. I'll give you a breath practice to do with these wazifas. And then after that, we're going to go into some general teachings on breath that we're also going to illustrate in walk form. But I want to do it more as a breath practice that has an aspect of walking in it than a walking practice that has an aspect of breath in it. And so what I got was that we'd see if we could configure the room in a very large oval with our chairs or cushions, as it were, and leaving enough space for like 3 people to walk in the middle. And then we would, because we're going to be dealing with how we change our state according to certain principles. We're going to be experiencing that on the breath, and then we're going to do that as the main practice. And then an aspect of that is going to be when people are moved to get up, no more than 3 at a time. We'll do the walk in the limited space that we will have, but with only 2 or 3 people walking, it should be enough space for people to properly carry over that rhythm of the breath and the inner feeling and sense of self that engages into the walk. Because my interest in this is not conveying the astrological walks or the wazifa walks either, but rather to give us more of a sense of how those vehicles are ways in which we can really see how we are developing and can develop a mastery in the area of breath in practical terms. So I do want to begin with the dance, and I love the atmosphere we had at the end this morning. Now we've eaten, we settled in, So what I would like to do is arouse a little more that Shakti energy. So I've asked Perry if he will lead us in the Shakti Jai Dance.
Get ready. Aerobic exercise.
So this dance is, I'm not sure if it's Halima Sussman's dance, but they
brought it from South America. And
the Portuguese pronunciation of what we say in English, we say Jai Krishna, Jai Rama, Jai Shakti, but in Portuguese, the J is pronounced Ya. So it's yay. So we're saying Shakti yay. But it's actually Jai. But then Jai is like that, right? It's like yay God. So we can actually say yay God and have to be Jai. So it sounds like this. Shakti, Shakti yay, yay, yay. Shakti yay, yay, yay. What key is it? That's B. Shakti is D. I'm a D baby. That's what Ramananda told me. My key is D. So I trust Ramananda has not failed me in the keys. He's
a good oirous key. He's very oirous.
Shakti yay, yay, yay. Shakti
yay, yay, yay. Shakti yay, yay, yay. Shakti yay. Shakti yay, yay, yay. Shakti yay. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
That's kind of
It's a little high.
That's a little high for some
Okay.
of us. Can we take it down?
Go back to where you were.
I'll just
switch.
sing.
That's enough.
That's pretty
high for male voice.
Shakti.
That's an octave low. I know, it's fine. So let's do, you want to go to the, that part, that's what finding keys is always Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. That work? Yeah, that's good. So that's the first 2/3 of the dance because we go to 2 parts. The hardest part of the dance is the last part where we say Uma, Ananda, Gaurima.
What was that?
It says Gurema is how they pronounce it, but it's the name Gaia Ma. So you want to say Gurema, that's how it's taught, but I always think of it as Gaia. So we can say Gurema. So it's Uma Ananda Gurema. Parvati Shakti Jai. So try to let those be loose and they'll come, but we'll try them a couple of times. So it's Uma Ananda Gurema. Parvati Shakti Jai. So it's Uma Ananda Gurema. Parvati Shakti Uma Ananda Gurema. Parvati Shakti. I'm going to start doing movements as we're learning in the dance still. So everybody take hands with a partner. Actually, after you get a partner, and maybe you could partner together, and I can show this thing, So it's kind of a fake, like you're gonna pass your partner, but you don't. So you start on the left and you go, well, just watch us. And so you don't progress, so you stay where you are, so that when we actually dance it, we'll all dance it together. So it's Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah. So now you can just, after you do this fake pass 3 times, the 4th time you can just walk past your partner to the next one. Or you can spin past them if you want to, but it's 3 fake passes and then you go to the next partner.
So you always progress in the direction that you're facing.
Yes.
Harry,
Yeah.
you always got on your left foot?
You all, I think so. Shakti, yeah.
That's your right. That's your right foot.
Okay, yes. It's not fair because I get left and right backwards, but I did know I was going to the left. It's the left side and the right foot. Okay, so that's it. Just testing.
Okay.
So let's try just that part. Actually, we can do the next part because we're going to do that twice. Is it twice or more? And then we go. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. And we're going to go. Then we're going to go right, left, doing that. Okay. And then we take hands on the and we're just going to kind of come in and out. So that's just kind of an in and out movement. Okay.
That rocking bit is important.
Yeah, it is because it's the mama's got it. She rocks with it. So let's try just a piece at a time and see if it works. Ready? So you step with the right foot to the left. Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, Shakti, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah, yeah. Shakti, yeah. Ananda Purima. Pause. This is Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Yay. Yeah. Okay, just drop your hands and make a bigger space of this circle. And we're going to do a dance here, actually a walk of Shakti. In other words, I'm just going to invite whoever's so moved to take this feeling and just move with your breath in this state of the embodiment of this tremendous force of Shakti, this play, this joy, this the God that is right in all of physical manifestation acting through you, so it was evoked in the dance. It's this, we're all the feminine to this emptiness of Shiva, yeah. Just anybody feels to move like Shakti energy. Going once, going twice. Okay. The Qabid.
Sold to your Qabid.
Yeah, right.
Do you want to give a little introduction to Qabid and Basit, or just?
Qabid, God is the only cause behind all of contraction. Basit, God is the only cause behind all of expansion. Wasi, that infinite container of capacity which holds both contraction and expansion, the capacity, the infinite capacity of the heart. Wasi.
Basit. And that repeats that whole set four times. And then Qabid Basit, we're going to have 3 different handholds for 3 different positions. So we'll be doing that really for a while. And then the Wasia is just the pedal on top. So holding hands. Start off a little dry. Actually, we start in a basket hold. And what we'll be doing, like this is the most Qabid position. Could we make this really a circle and move this part out a little bit? Or at least an oval? Just this kind of rocking back and forth. But let's get really close
Right.
together. This is the Qabid. So we're going to go twice in this direction and twice in this direction. Actually, I'll just go through all the hand movements and we can launch into it. So we'll do twice in this direction, twice in this direction. Then back to holding our hands like this. And the hand movement, the same foot movement, but we're rowing kind of up and over. And this is one of Mahbub's dances. And this, embedded in this hand movement, is the art of ascent and descent. Just so you know. So we'll be going, again, twice, repetitions this way, and then twice the repetitions this way. And then the most Basit, make all the space we have. And again, the hand movement is this up and over, the art of ascent and descent. So it would be that's just to give you the sense.
No, that doesn't change directions, it's just.
No, you'll do 2 sets, each one of these things. 2 repetitions to the right, 2 repetitions to the left. A little trick is when you're at the last step in this direction, just bring your foot to close, and then it'll be free when you come to step the other way.
When you say 2 repetitions, do you mean 2 repetitions like 4 repetitions?
Right, the melody.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The melody is 1 repetition.
Got it.
Good clarification. Yeah. It's a lot of repetitions. But it's-
Yeah,
and
but
then,
that's prayer.
yes, yes, it is. You'll get your full set. And then Yawasia, really take the full turn. Yawasia, 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 Yawasia. We'll be doing, again, 2 sets of the repetition to the right, fully all the way to the right, and then 2 full sets to the left. And I would just invite you, when you're taking this long, slow turn, this Wasia is like infinite except with parentheses. It's like, so when you're making this turn, send a beam from your heart, like as far as you can see it go, and then imagine that there's something that's going to roll it back to you. It's infinity contained. And the hands, yes.
It's a sense of that which is infinite is also a container. And you can think of it as space curving back on itself in the kind of Einsteinian way if you want to, or you don't have to think about it at all because it's a capacity of the heart. The heart, which is our center of feeling, is an infinite container because it holds things and also it has the capacity to contain anything and everything beyond.
So just, feel that capacity in the slow turn. Beginning. So let's get this rounded up again. Tom, could you step back a little bit? You get started. No, we're starting with Yaka.
Allah Ya Qabid.
You start with the Qabid, not the Wasi. It always keeps going down. It doesn't rise up again at the end of that line. So we'll just go to this.
Let's find a seat and stay in our breath. We're going to just continue this on the breath for a minute as we'll take a number of breaths at the beginning, inhaling Ya Qabid, exhaling Ya Basit. You're letting go, you're becoming empty, but imagine you're becoming vast as you breathe out. There's nothing you're holding on to. The Qabid is that centripetal force that holds things together. The Qabs that is the essence of ego in the sense of self-identification that holds things together. And yet within that, all perfection is born. And so that is, you got to see God within that utterly contracted state. And you know, as you can't stay in that state as you breathe in. You see, if you hold your breath, you got to let go of it anyway. So you breathe in the Qabid, you breathe out the Basit, and then in a minute or two, I will instruct us just to breathe in and out Ya Wasi. And so I want you to get this sense of, you know, God is in the high and the low. God is in the contraction and the expansion. You know, if we can get over our clinging and our prejudice against this and that state and just be with it as a natural flowing of the, you know, our heart, our breath, the whole of creation is doing this expansion and contraction. So find the divine presence in both states. Get a kind of equanimity about it by understanding God is in both states. Exhaling your Basit, inhaling your Qabid. You know, while you continue to breathe in and out, expressing this Qabid and Basit at the physical level, breathe in and out the name Ya Wasi, and feel this infinite capacity of heart, of the depth of all feeling in heart that holds both expansion and contraction with ease. Now feeling the spacious capacity of heart as the altar in the temple of God, which is your body. Bring into that altar something you deeply cherish, something you find totally beautiful, that you want to hold in that altar as your living prayer. Continuing to breathe in this way. Now let's seal this practice by blowing the sound hu into the heart. See if you can make it echo in the big chamber of your heart. What I'd like for us to do now is to see if we can reconfigure the room so that we stretch the chairs out in the biggest possible circle to make a space in the middle, and then we'll go on from there. So there's only one circle of people sitting, nobody sitting inside. If you're sitting on a cushion, bring that into the circle, because we're going to be doing a sitting breath practice, interspersed with walking. So you'll get up and walk, and then you'll return to your seat. So this is good. I think we'll be able to, I just want to see what it's like to walk here. Yeah, I think there's plenty of room for 2 or 3 people to walk here without getting on top of each other in this space. We're going to work with, to begin with, Urooj, Zaval, and Kamal. And then we're going to add Jalal and Jamal to it at the next phase. And I just want to read just a tiny amount of what Hazrat Inayat Khan says about Urooj and Zaval. As the sun has rising, zenith, and setting, so the mind has the same 3 states of rising, zenith, and setting, coming alternately. Urooj is that state of mind when a person thinks with energy and enthusiasm, I'm going to do such and such a thing. It's when you get energy and enthusiasm around your idea of doing something. That's most typical state of the mind in a state of Urooj. Okay, I'm going to move to California. I'm going to, or I'm going to,
Join the Navy.
You already joined the Navy. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to find a beloved, this beloved, and that sort of thing. When a person thinks with energy and enthusiasm, I'm going to do such and such a thing. This state of mind produces such a force and power in order to create its object that in its excess it produces a mist, such that the faculty of reason and justice is often dimmed. Our desire, I'm going to do this, and other things fall into the mist of the Urooj, because the Urooj rules, It
sounds like investment banking.
I don't know anything about it, but if you say so. The state of mind which is Kamal is perceived during that time when action is being done. So this rises to the point of action. As soon as action is being done, that's the Kamal state. If you can find a way of extending that action in a balanced manner, you can continue that Kamal state in a practical aspect of Kamal. Say, for example, by balancing sun and moon in your breath. That would be a Kamal state. And if you can balance it in your breath, you can maintain a state that is stable and balanced between Jalal and Jamal. It is a Kamal state. It's a balanced state. It's not Kamal in the sense of the end of the world as we know it, which is also Kamal. But this is an aspect of it, and it's what Inayat Khan is saying here when he says that the state of mind which is Kamal is perceived during the time when action is being done. This mist which the energy of mind has produced reaches in Kamal its culmination, which is the end of the joy or sorrow pertaining to that deed, because the excess of force has become exhausted. Well, that is typical. You get something and then all of a sudden, whatever it was, and then, but that Urooj, that desire that drove you toward that object has been exhausted. At this point, thank you. At this point, Zaval is that whole action that happens from the time that the action ends to where where it begins to fall. And ultimately it falls and dissolves into the absolute. Is that state of mind when the power of enthusiasm is lost, the joy and sorrow of the deed are past, but the memory remains. Well, that's at a certain stage of Zaval, you see. That fades, those things fade at a certain point. You just remember you did that, the passion or lack of it connected with it has gone, but you have a memory that happened. If the impression of that memory is sorrowful, the needle's pricked through the sore of the wounded heart. If it was joy, a tickling and uplifting feeling is perceived, which diminishes and vanishes in time, in the entire assimilation in the essence. So that's the ultimate, as the Zaval flatlines. It's absorbed in the essence, you see. The master of concentration is he or she who produces at their will not only Urooj, but Kamal and Zaval also. So that's what we're trying to learn how to do. Murshid brought this in through the walks of the elements and the walks of the planets and the walks of the prophets and the Dharani and connected with the different attributes of God to bring us into this sense of we are a vehicle within which all of these divine states can manifest. We're not just limited to what our personality thinks we are in terms of, well, I'm a person who's always this way, and those other people are like that. I mean, at the personality level, we reflect our relationship with perfection in different ways. I mean, I embrace this quality of divine love, of beauty, but I'm very leery about this quality of divine power. For example, personality structures. But what we're trying to get at is just that we have an infinite possibility of being within us. As Anayat Khan puts it, you are the soul, your real self is individuated. You experience it as a self, and that means it has this Qabid, this container, this centripetal force that pulls it into a center and establishes it, and you self-identify with it as an entity. But in truth, if you knew the essence of it, which is the soul, which is an undivided portion of all consciousness itself, of all being itself, is the only being, is an eye-ear feeling mechanism of the only being. Your soul is an activity of God. So for that reason, the one who realizes that in a certain way becomes able to evoke perfections that are inside of their being that are not something that their personality has naturally gravitated towards. So this is what's behind it. It's the principle of mastery as compared with the principle of renunciation or saintliness. And as Anayat Khan puts it, in the middle is the prophet, who contains both the mastery and sainthood, or that sense of overcoming by accomplishment. In this case, by our learning to use that fulcrum at the center of the breath, which the breath is the center of this whole current of energy that connects all of the layers of existence, in a skillful way, so that we can actually change our state. That's the kind of at the core of how we're using breath here. So that's a masterful approach. But a saintly approach would be to be able to always flow with the breath of the moment, to give everything up to that, to notice what is in that breath, and to regard that as sacred in some way. Yeah.
So I just have a question. I mean, you've talked about, mentioned Urooj and Zaval.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything about Nasul. I guess I'm just curious about this aspect of it being absorbed in Zaval. I guess I haven't, at some point it empties, right? Or in this case, talking about some way in which you get absorbed in a whole other way. I mean, I'm just a little bit...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like that. Think about it, the mind. We're talking about the mind, our awareness, which includes our feelings and our sense of self, because that's an idea, that we have a self, identify with it. That's an aspect of mind. So that's what we're aware of. At a certain point, an action as we know it here fades away into the infinite horizon. That's the ultimate flatlining of the Zaval. Now it's a memory. Some of those childhood memories you can barely reach. Some of the memories from a few minutes ago you can barely reach. Sometimes you can reach the childhood memories easier, but there's a fading kind of landscape, of the livingness of that memory, and what you find is, at a certain point, that which touched perfection doesn't die, because it's not transient in the same way. But this is another lens into this phenomena. At this ordinary way we're talking, we have this rising force in the mind. We have its culmination in the act of that accomplishment, and then we have its falling action where it becomes, the joy or sorrow of it is just pricked by the memory of it, and then that fades until the whole thing is absorbed in the ground of being. But the light of the explosion of the Big Bang is still visible. Now, isn't that amazing? So in a certain sense, if you had the ear and eyes of God, you see nothing ever disappears.